Good morning, students. In the previous class, we have discussed what are the different characteristic features of phylum Mollusca. So later on, we'll discuss about this classification of phylum Mollusca. So next, we'll move to classification. So how many classes are there in this phylum? So on what basis? So these organisms are to be there in different classes. So when you come across classification, there are mainly 6 classes you will find. 6 classes you will find in this phylum. So on what basis we are dividing into 6 classes? So dividing based on their, based on their shell symmetry, based on their shell, based on their symmetry, based on their mantle, based on their radium. So based on all these different characteristic features, so we are dividing into 6 classes. So we'll start one by one. So first class, Monoplacophora. Monoplacophora. So Monoplacophorans, one best example, Neopelina. So Neopelina, common name also saying Neopelina species. So one main important thing you have to remember about this Neopelina. So once in the previous class you have already taken that. So connecting link between Annelida and Arthropoda. So that organism we called as a peripatus. Like that only here in molluscans also one more you will find a connecting link. So this is what this organism will be connecting link between directly from Annelida to mollusca. Neopelina is the connecting link between Annelida and mollusca. And one more important thing you should remember. So this Neopelina will also call it as, this is first, and second thing, one more important thing about this Neopelina is we'll also call it as living fossil. So living fossil in the sense, so from ancestors, so these organisms are coming without any morphological changes. So that same what type of morphology will be there in the previous generation, that the same morphology will find in the next generation also. So without any change. So such type of animals will be exhibiting, like Neopelina will be exhibiting living fossil. So without any change. So this is another very important thing about this Neopelina. So this is first class Monoplacophorans, and second class Polyplacophorans. So one best example for these animals, Polyplacophorans, chiton. Chiton scientifically called and commonly called Chaetoplura. Chaetoplura and scientifically called chiton. So this is the second animal belonging to phylum, second class Polyplacophorans. So first class is Monoplacophora. Example is Neopelina. So common name also same. I have written that word only Neopelina, or commonly called Neopelina species. Now other common names. Then followed by Polyplacophorans. Example chiton. Then example commonly called a Chaetoplura. So totally how many classes are there? I have written here 6 classes are there. On what basis? Based on this, based on shell, different types of shells you will find in different animals. Either it may be a bivalve, or it may be a single word, univalve, or sometimes absence. So like you will find in octopus, you will not at all find any shells. Based on that, the different shells. Then based on this symmetry, for example, you can take Pila globosa. In Pila globosa or in apple smell, you will find asymmetrical condition. In other, you will find bilateral symmetry. So based on that symmetry, also based on this mantle, then followed by based on this radula. Radula is nothing but a rasping organ. So that rasping organ around the mouth region, on the tentacular region, you will find. So that radula will be helpful for capturing the food. So teeth structures you will find on that radula. That's what radula will be very helpful in cutting the food or cutting the prey. Are you getting my point? So based on these the different structures, so we are dividing into 6 classes. So first class, example and example. So this will be having special feature, then followed by polyglot 4 and second class, then followed by one best example. So when we move to third class, so we will find one more best class name. We will commonly call it as Scapupoda. Scaphopoda. Scapupoda. So Scaphopodon's one best example. Dentalium. Denta is related to teeth. So these organism will be looks like a tusk. Do you know tusk means? Tusk. Usually in elephant you will find so whitish structure, teeth structure. So tusk or tooth. Tooth shell. Tusk shell or will commonly call it as a tooth shell. So this dentalium will look like a elephant tusk. Are you getting my point? So that's what based on that organism we'll call it as commonly as a tusk shell or tooth shell. So then one more important class, Pelecypoda. So when you will practice, then only you will remember all phylum, classification, class names with examples, right? So then followed by Pelecypoda. So one best example for these Pelecypodans, you just write it down. Unio. UNIO. Unio is commonly called freshwater mussel. I have already given this word unio. So when we have started this important character or basis of classification character, like while studying that habitat, I just gave one name as unio or freshwater mussel. It means that all the remaining organism belonging to this molluscans will be either living in marine water or living in that terrestrial medium, except one freshwater species. What is that? Freshwater mussel, or scientifically we call as unio. Except this, remaining all are either semi-terrestrial or terrestrial form or marine form. So this is one best example for Pelecypodans. And second example, you just note it down in that only. Second example, Pinctada. Pinctada in bracket, you note it down. Pearl oyster. Do you know pearl means? So that pearl oyster usually will extract from these animals called a Pinctada. Pinctada, pearl oyster. This is also economically important species. Is it or not? So pearl oyster. So another best example, Austria. Austria commonly called edible oyster. In coastal areas like in Kerala side, so they used to eat some oyster species. So that's what edible means, we can eat. So these edible oysters, scientifically called Austria. Are you getting my point? And the last one more example is Mytilus. Mytilus, scientifically called and commonly called sea mussel. One is freshwater mussel and other one is C muscle. So all these are the different examples of this class of Palacipoda. So after completion of this Palacipoda, one more class is remaining, Gastropoda. Gastropoda is one best example so many times. You already heard that word phyla, scientifically called or completely means phyla globosa. Phyla globosa. Phyla globosa commonly called apple snail. Apple snail. And another best example for these class animals, Aplysia. Aplysia. Aplysia commonly called sea hare. Not this hare. Sea hare. Hare hare. Not that hare. Sea hare. Hare. Commonly called sea hares. And last one more class is remaining, sixth one, Cephalopoda. Cephalopoda. Poda is related to muscular foods. Depends on the different regions where you will find this food. So depends on that. I have mentioned the podas: gastropoda, palacipoda, cephalopoda. Is it or not? So like that, scaphopoda. So one best example for these cephalopodans, we already know devilfish or octopus. Octopus scientifically called, commonly called a devilfish. Devilfish is the one best example, and second example means scientifically called sepia. Sepia, commonly called cuttlefish. Commonly called cuttlefish. And last one more ancient example, you just remember loligo. Loligo, commonly called sea squid. Sea squid. All these are the different examples of class cephalopods. So next you just note it down. Phylum Echinodermata. In fresh page, you just note it down heading. Phylum Echinodermata. Echinodermatans. So the name itself says, when you split these two words, echinos means spines. You observe a starfish. So when you take a starfish, dead starfish, they will find a spines on their body. The body is completely covered by spiny structures. So those spines are protective in function. Are you getting my point? So some other organisms also will find. So especially we are discussing about echinoderms. Body is completely covered by spines. So right? So very pointed structures we called as spines. So spine and then followed by another word as dharma. Dharma means, as you already know, skin. Is it or not? So dharma means skin. It means that body is covered by spines. That's what we'll also call it as echinoderms, as spiny, skinned animals. spiny skinned animals. Spiny skinned animals. So when you come across some characteristic features, usually we'll start with this habitat where they will live. All existing echinoderms are marine. What it means? All existing species. So in this globe especially, so in marine water, all are exclusively marine. So what they've given sentence, instead of giving all are marine, so all existing echinoderm, it means that for example, you can take 50,000 echinoderm species are there. All 50,000 species are living in marine water. No exceptional cases. For example, you can take molluscan Unia, you will find in freshwater, some are in terrestrial medium, some are living in near the water bodies or in semi-terrestrial medium. Like I told, in different phyla we have already discussed different vast varieties of habitats to be there. Diversification is there in different phyla. But when you come across Echinodermata, whatever existing species are there, all existing species are living in marine water only. So that's what I give this sentence. Right? So this is first characteristic feature. So then followed by, so some common characteristic features we have already discussed. So when you come across the symmetry, so usually here little difference will be there. I've already told you that starting from which phylum, bilateral symmetry, Aschelminths or Platyhelminths, from Platyhelminths to up to Chordata including human beings. So here what will happen? Here also same, bilateral symmetry in a larvae. You underline this word. This is very important. Usually in adults you will find bilateral symmetry now. But here in these animals, before metamorphosis, when they are in larval form, at that time only we are finding bilateral symmetry. When they will attain maturity, so they will once again become radially symmetrical. Best example you can take starfish. Starfish, when it is in larval form, this is exhibiting bilateral symmetry. When it attains maturity, once again it turns into radially symmetrical. Why? Because you can take example. So star-shaped structure you will find none. So in that star, what you will find through the central axis, if you cut in this direction, if you cut in this direction, or so you will find so many structures in this star. So in any direction, if you are cutting the body, you are getting the two equal halves. Is it or not? So this is the starfish, and this organism now it is in adult stage. When it is to be in adult stage, then only it is exhibiting radial symmetry. When it is to be in metamorphosis stage or in larval stage, this is exhibiting bilateral symmetry. Are you getting my point? So opposition is there. Usually there, if a larva is there, radial symmetry. When it attains adult, bilateral symmetry. But here opposite. So right, larvae, and you write it down, radial symmetry. Radial symmetry are finding here in adults. Adults exhibiting radial symmetry. Sometimes specifically in NCERT they have mentioned radial symmetry. Actually this is exhibiting pentamerous radial symmetry. According to the NCERT point of view, you just remember adults will be exhibiting radial symmetry and larva will be exhibiting bilateral. But here actually what will happen? This will be exhibiting pentamerous radial symmetry in adults and larva will be exhibiting bilateral symmetry. Penta means 5. So actually in 5 planes you will get 2 equal halves. Bilateral means only in one plane. Radial means any plane. So pentamerous means usually in 5 radial plane you are getting 2 equal halves. This is very simple. So pentamerous radial symmetry also you should remember. Right? Specifically, you can take starfish. Is it how many arms are there? Means five arms are there. In all the five arms, we will get two equal arms. Based on that, we are calling it as pentamerous radial symmetry. But actually, in NEET exam, they may ask larva bilateral and radial symmetry exhibiting in adults. Instead of that, or along with that, you just remember pentamerous also. Not instead, along with that. So we should give always first preference to NCERT. Is it or not? So you will observe this organism, you may get pentamerous radial symmetry or more than that also. Right? After completion of this symmetry part, we'll start with this germ layers and all. Usually here also we'll find out cycloplastic means three germ layers you will find. Is it or not? So here also organ system grade you will find starting from Aschelminths. Is it or not? So platyhelminths organ level. So starting from Aschelminths or roundworms up to Mammalia. So all will be exhibiting organ system grade. So here also organ system grade and coelomates. When you come across origin of coelom, starting from Echinodermata, what type of coelom you will find? Enterocoelom. Or enterocoelomates or enterocoelic coelom, right? So this coelom or body cavity is originating from embryonic gut or enteron. Enteron is related to gut or intestine or alimentary canal. Are you getting my point? So enterocoelic coelom or enterocoelomates animals. And the next fourth characteristic feature. This is very important. So, presence of underline this word ambulacral system. This is peculiar characteristic feature you will find only in echinoderms. So, ambulacral system, in other words, we'll also call it as an NCERT water vascular system. Water vascular system. You already heard like this one word in porifera. Poriferans will also exhibiting canal system. What type of canal is there? What type of canal you will find? Water canal system. Is it or not? Only canal system we may call in porifera. Is it or not? So here water vascular system we will find. Actually, transport takes place through this water transport system usually through this only. So why? Because of here usually actual circulation process is not there. So due to that absence of this exact circulation process here, water transport takes place through this canal system. So that's what we are calling it as vascular. Vascular in the sense like vessels. Is it or not? So water vascular system is the important characteristic feature of the echinoderm. This is very important. So just remember. Ambulacral system or water vascular system. So what it consists? Water vascular system consisting mainly madreporites. So madreporite is a perforated place. Perforation means small holes. For example, you can take, so this will be perforated like this, and from the center you are finding plated structures in different directions or in different radius. This is one madreporite. So within that you will find a small again hole structures. These are called perforations or holes. So what is that main important role by presence of this perforated plates or madreporites? So these holes may involve in a entry of sea water into the canal system. Are you getting my point? So in this canal system, water is entering means in porifera, ostia are there. There also perforations are there. Na? So those small structures we called as ostia, through which ostia sea water may enter into the water canal system there. In similar way, here you are finding a small rounded structure. Within that round span of rights, you are finding small perforations you will find through holes or through perforated holes. So or that in general holes, na? So water, sea water will be entering into the water vascular system. This is what the main function. By entry, so this madreporite may help in transport of food. Transport of food by presence of madreporite helps in transport of food. And along with that, another very important calcareous pipe you will find attached to this. So another very important thing you have to remember in this. So this water vascular system is also consisting tube feeds. TUBE. So tube feeds are nothing but, so these are small structures, pipey structures you will find. So through which so like this tube feeds you will find in water vascular system. So these are called tube feeds. So these tube feeds may help in. So after once enters that sea water means that sea water itself consisting oxygen, dissolved oxygen is there, whatever nutrition is there, all will be present within that water medium only. So that's what that may transport with the help of madreporite. Once that water enters into the water vascular system means so remaining process will be done by. So exchange of gases will be there. That exchange of gases is also done by tube feeds. That's what these tube feeds may help in respiration or exchange of gases. Exchange of gases. And also helps in locomotion. While moving, so these will also help in locomotion. And also one more important function done by tube feeds helps in food capture. You already come prefix as food. It also helps in food capture. All three different functions done by this single tube structures recorded as tube feeds. Total 4 functions to be done by overall ambulacral or water vascular system. What are those 4 different functions? Transport of food materials, exchange of gases, locomotion, then followed by food capture. All 4 functions in general, right? So another very important characteristic feature, you just note it down. Digestive system or digestive tract or alimentary canal. So almost all these organisms starting from asking limits all will have complete digestive tract. Is it or not? Both mouth and anus you will find. Except brittle star. You heard this word brittle star? Write it down. Brittle star will commonly called, scientifically called Ophiothrix. When we will come across this classification, I will give both scientific and common name. So you just remember that common name. Brittle stars. Brittle stars digestive system is incomplete. Digestive system is incomplete, but remaining all liquid terms will be exhibiting complete digestive system. When we will call it as complete? When it is having 2 openings, one for ingestion, one for egestion. Then only. And one more thing, most of these species will be exhibiting extracellular digestion. Some you will find intracellular also. Majorly you are finding extracellular digestion. Within the digestive tract, with the help of different enzymes, it may involve in digestion process. Extracellular digestion. Only in few species you are finding intracellular. Major other. And one more important characteristic feature here, remember compulsorily, so that is what we call as a excretory system is absent. You will think that these are highly evolved invertebrates, means higher invertebrates, then also how this excretory system is absent. Is it or not? So this is very important point in most of the CET or in the exam they may ask. Excretory system is absent in echinoderms. Absent in echinoderms. So then followed by one line information about how the respiration. You write it down, respiratory system or respiration. How the exchange of gases. Usually you know that tube feed will be involved in exchange of gases. Other than tube feed, some other modified structures you will find. All different structures are looking morphologically different but functionally same. Is it or not? So different structures in different organisms. So one will call it as papillae. What will you call papillae? Papillae you will find in starfish. At least I have heard this word starfish. Have seen starfish? So in starfish you will find respiratory structures like a papillae. Are you getting my point? Other than tubes, right? So second one, some other respiratory structures are called genital bursae. Genital bursae you will find in brittle star. You will find in animals like brittle stars. And third one, peristominal gills. Peristominal gills you will find in sea urchins. Finding sea urchins. Sea urchin. And last one, cloacal respiratory tree or trees. All these are morphologically different, structurally different, functionally all they may have same function like exchange of gas based on their shapes. Like a respiratory tree like structure, branches you will find. So all branches involved in exchange of gases. You will find in animals like sea cucumber. The animal will be looks like a cucumber. That's what we call as sea cucumber. In all four different types of animals, you will find different respiratory structures. So up to digestion, in from physiology point of view, we have completed digestion, respiration, then followed by excretion is as usual absent here. So in lower invertebrates, usually will find no excretory system, but in higher invertebrates, usually excretory system is there. But in higher invertebrate like Echinodermata also, you will find the excretory system is absent. Then followed by about circulation, reproduction, nervous system and all. Then followed by classification. So we'll discuss in next class. Right? Thank you.